Hello friends, I'm your wine chemist. Should you pull port out at parties? Is it from Portugal? The answer to all your port questions is in this little video. Port wine has its origins in Portugal. All along the Douro Valley, grapes are harvested, and while some are used to make table wines, a different process is used to make port. Fermentation is stopped early when the alcohol levels reach between 5 to 9%. This leaves a lot of unfermented sugars, giving a sweet wine. The short fermentation process requires higher extraction techniques to pull color, flavor, and tannins into the wine, and this is where foot treading is still used. Afterwards, the wines are fortified. Spirits, usually brandy or grape spirits, are added to bring the overall alcohol level to about 19 to 22%, killing off the live yeast and stabilizing the wine. Alcohol 23%. Alcohol 23%? These wines are then aged depending on their style. Then, the Douro River is used to transport wines for sale and distribution. This is where the English got involved in the history of port. Toward the beginning of the 1700s, England was battling with France and restricted from importing French wines. With low taxes on imports from Portugal, English wine merchants were elated to find that port withstood long trips by boat up to England. The fortified wine became commonplace in the English household, a perfect treat after dinner. These merchants, partnering with Portuguese vintners, became the largest names for port and are still thriving today. But not all port is the same. There are several varietals that are used in making port wine, but the one most cultivated and best known is Touriga Nacional. Portuguese red field blends make several styles of port. Let's start with Ruby. These blends are typically between 1 to 3 years old. They are the fruitiest, but lack a bit of the complexity and tannins. Ruby ports are perfect for the beginner. They are also the least expensive. It's so tasty too! Just like candy. Next up is Tawny. Younger Tawny is less extracted, while reserve Tawny is more aged, usually a minimum of 6 years. This allows for the complex, nutty flavors, making it stand apart from Ruby. Tawny may also have an age indication. These ages are representative and are not the exact years. They are blends across vintage with a median age. These ports have seen a longer oxidation and development period, showing secondary notes and concentrated flavors. It's just like candy. Honest. This brings us to vintage port. These are special, as a producer must register the intent to bottle a vintage port in the second year after harvest. The finest quality of grapes are used, and when it comes time to announce a vintage year, it's usually a consensus from the region, as vintage years may only be registered 3 times per decade. We have the last category called late bottle vintage. These have about 4 to 6 years of aging in large oak vessels and are usually ready to drink upon release. They are similar in style to that of high-quality reserve ruby ports. Those are the main categories of port, but there are also white and rosé port to explore. So why don't you join the thousands of happy peppy people and get a great big bottle of this stuff. And until the next time on The Wine Chemist, here's to experimenting with wine. Cheers!
Oh, I feel fine. It's awful hot in here.